Hey guys, it's Miss Burns here. I'm just doing a video to remind you guys about how to do the before and during reading strategies that we've been talking about in class. Because while I'm gone this week, and you guys have a sub, starting tomorrow, you're going to have an article each day to read during our Google Meet, and you're going to need to do the before reading strategies and the during reading strategies on your own. And since I'm not there to answer questions, and help you out, I figured I'd make this video as a reminder and you can look back at it anytime you need to. Okay, so first of all, remember, before reading strategies, during reading strategies, after reading strategies. These are things that will help you when you have a text that is very difficult, maybe at a higher reading level than you're used to, or if you have a text that's super important, maybe something you're going to be tested on, something you need to learn, something you need to remember. So if that's the case, you're going to want to use these strategies. They are going to take a lot of time. They are going to be a pain, but they are going to be worthwhile in the end because you will learn the material better, you'll understand it better, you'll remember it better. So if you really need it, if it's important, or if it's very difficult, use these strategies and they will help you. Now, I showed you this on Friday, but this is a recap in case you have any questions about how to do this. The pre-reading strategies are listed out for you, and they shouldn't take you more than 5-10 minutes. All right, the first one is read the title. So again, like I did in class on Friday, the title for the article we looked at is Animals in Space. Okay, then it says look at all the images and captions. Okay, when I scroll down, I don't see a lot of images. I see like a background image that looks like stars and outer space behind the title. I see an image of a squirrel monkey. I'm reading the caption, Miss Baker must be the name of this squirrel monkey. It's holding on to some kind of tube with maybe a planet in the background and some stars. I see a chimpanzee named Ham, it looks like, in some kind of seat, being kind of belted in or something. And then I see a dog in some kind of seat, squeezed in the seat that looks like metal. I see NASA on a helmet. Okay, so based on that, I'm thinking this has to do with space, obviously the title. Read any bold, italicized, or underlined words. In this case, there aren't any. Sometimes there will be. And if you come across a bold or underlined word or an italicized word, it's like that for a reason. It must be important or the author wouldn't make it stand out. So if for some reason you come across a bold word, and you don't know it, you should look it up before you even start reading. That way, when you get to it in the text, you already know what it means and you can just keep on going. Read the first and last line of the text. What do Albert, Yorick, Abel, and Baker have in common? Well, I know there's Miss Baker, so maybe it's animals. Maybe it's the names of the animals. I'm not sure. And then the last line is, we might not know all their names, but they paved the way for all past, current, and future men and women in space. Okay, so I'm thinking those are names and that they went out into space before humans did, maybe to test it out so that we could learn what works and doesn't work and then send humans out when we felt like it was safer. So really those animals were like guinea pigs, which kind of makes me sad for them. Predict what you think the main idea is. I think the main idea is going to be about how these animals were sent out into space to test the effects of space travel, and then whatever worked, whatever didn't work, they changed and made it safer for humans. I'm worried that some of these animals died or got hurt in the process. At the very least, they were probably scared out of their mind. So this actually makes me really sad for the animals. And what I'm doing right now is I'm thinking out loud as I go through these pre-reading strategies. You guys should be thinking this much when you're reading your text, when you're doing these strategies. Okay, the next one says predict the main idea. I already went over that. I think it's about animals being sent into space to test the effects so that humans could go out next. Prior knowledge, I don't know much about space. I know there's planets out there. I know there's stars. I know galaxy or groups of stars. There's a universe. I don't know a ton about space. I know there's shuttles that go out there. There's no gravity. That's about the extent of my knowledge. Okay, I think the author's purpose here is to inform us, is to give us information. I don't think they're entertaining. It doesn't look like like a fun, like a book with dialogue or anything like that. It looks like an informational article to me as I skim through it. A lot of dates, a lot of facts. I don't feel like they're trying to persuade me or convince me of anything. I think they're just trying to give me some information. So that's my guess or my prediction. I think the text structure is going to be order sequence because I saw a lot of dates and they seem to go in order, like 1948, then 50, then 51, then 51, 52. It just seems like 58, they're going in order. So I think this is order sequence. So if I was going to be taking notes in a graphic organizer, my graphic organizer would look like this. I'd have whatever happened first, then an arrow to what happened second, an arrow to what happened third, fourth, fifth, and so on. Because it looks like it goes in order. So that's how I would take my notes. Okay, if I'm correct. So I'm done, and that took me about 6 minutes, and I was thinking out loud the whole time so you guys could tell what I was doing. Next, I'm supposed to annotate using the directions in this gray box. Here are the directions. I'm supposed to read through it one time, and then read through it a second time. The first time I read through it, I'm supposed to underline and bold words that I don't know. So as I read through, if I come across a word that I don't know, I'm going to underline it, bold it, and I'm going to create a comment that shows what the definition of that word is. And I might have to look that up in Google or something if I don't know the word. I'm supposed to change the text to blue and place a blue question mark next to it if it makes me wonder about something. Like if it just brings a question to my mind, like I wonder this or I wonder that. What if this? Or if I find it confusing. So whenever something like makes me like question it, I'm gonna put the text in blue. And if it's me wondering about something or if it's me being confused about something, I'm gonna write a comment on the side using the little plus sign. I'm going to add a comment and I'm going to write down what is my question, what is it exactly that I'm wondering, or what is it exactly I'm confused about. I'm going to highlight important information, and that's not just the big ideas. I'm also going to highlight the details of the text, anything that's important, anything at all. I'm going to change the text to red if it's interesting. If I'm like, ooh, that's interesting, or surprising. If I'm like, I can't believe that happened, that was a little shocking. I'm going to make it red, and I'm going to add a comment by hitting the plus button and writing what it is exactly I thought was interesting or shocking or surprising. All right, I'm going to add comments for any other thoughts I have. It doesn't matter how big or how small. If you can connect it to something you've already learned, if it reminds you of something, you're going to put your thoughts in comments. Yes, this takes a long time, but you're interacting with the text. And as you do that, it should take you a while. You should be having lots of thoughts when you read, and you should be really questioning and thinking about every line of what you're reading. That's how you build that comprehension up, and that's how you build that memorization up. Okay, step 2 would be to read through it a second time and add any annotations that I want to add that I might have missed out, or correct any annotations I want to correct, and then end with a summary of that section. So in this case, I don't particularly see sections, so I would just say every paragraph is a section because it seems like a nice space in between, so we'll call it a section. So I'm going to read and annotate and show you what this looks like so that starting tomorrow when you have text to read, you know what this should look like and you do a good job with it. Okay, the big thing I notice with annotations is people just don't do enough. So watch how much I put on here. That's what I'm expecting from you. Okay, so I'm going to start. What do Albert, Yorick, Abel, and Baker have in common? Well, I don't know. So I'm curious. What do they have in common? So since this is making me think of a question, I'm going to make it blue. I'm going to add question. I don't know. What do they have in common? Who are they? Are they people or animals? Okay, these are my thoughts, so I'm just going to throw them in a comment. I just hit the plus button and then type my questions in. Oh, they're animals. All right, I just found the answer. They're all animals that were transported into space. Okay, my thought is surprised. I'm surprised they would send animals into space. That seems mean to the animals. I would think they'd be scared and maybe get hurt. Why would the government allow that? Okay, that I could actually make that blue also. I was surprised by it, so I made it red, but since it gave me a question, I could have also turned that blue. Okay, they tested the effects of space travel on people. Okay, so I was right. My prediction was right that animals were sent into space. I should say my prediction about the main idea of the text was right. The animals were sent into space to test the effects of space travel for humans. Okay. It's not unusual today for men and women to go into space. I'm surprised by that. I'm going to make that blue. Really? How many people are in space? If it's not that unusual, how many people are in space right now? Just curious. All right, there was a time, though, when nobody knew what would happen to people in space. That makes sense. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to just write that makes sense. All right, so I'm going to just summarize this whole thing. I'm highlighting the whole thing. I'm clicking on the thing. So basically, animals were sent into space to test the effects before they sent humans. I think that's the main idea, because at one point, no one knew what to expect. And they would rather animals get hurt and die than humans. Frowny face. That makes me sad. All right. So do you see what all I did for one paragraph? That's what you guys need to do. Now, I read that once. I didn't see any words I didn't know, so I didn't have to do underline or bold. I did add some things that made me question things. I did add some things that I was surprised at. I didn't highlight anything, so let me go back and make sure I highlight. I got to fix that. So I think I'm going to highlight this, because I think this is the main idea, and I think I'm going to highlight it, if I can, blue. Can we see that? All right, at least it's coming out green, but I highlighted this because I think this is the main idea of this paragraph. I think it's important. I'm going to also highlight this. Nobody knew what would happen, because I think this is why they did this. So we got what they did and why they did it. So I'm going to highlight this as well. So my highlights look green, even though I meant for them to be blue, probably because they're against this weird background color. All right. So I changed the text to blue when I had questions or wondered about something. I changed it to red when I was surprised by something or thought it was interesting. I highlighted important ideas and details that I thought might be important. I added comments, like the one comment where I just said, that makes sense. Didn't really go with anything, but it was a thought in my head, so I wrote it down. All right, I read through a second time, and I made sure to add a summary at the end of the section, or paragraph in this case, and I fixed anything I had forgotten to highlight, so reading that second time helped me remember to highlight. Okay, I've done everything. This is what I want your annotations to look like when you get your texts tomorrow and Thursday and Friday. I want them to look this dense and detailed. Okay? Good luck. I hope you do okay with the sub. Sorry I'm not there for you guys. I will be back on Monday. All right? Have a great rest of your week. Don't be afraid to contact me on Canvas inbox, because I'll still be working. I'm going to be in a training, and I'll still be by my computer. So don't be afraid to contact me on Canvas inbox if you have questions. Okay, now I'm officially done. Have a great rest of your week.